let me tell you a little story. A situation I found myself in. And to keep it a bit more interesting, let's call it the shadow in the cabin. So, I arrived at the cabin just as the last slivers of daylight slipped behind the thick canopy of trees. The drive had been longer than expected, the narrow roads winding through the dense forest like a serpent. My hands were stiff from gripping the steering wheel, my mind already frayed from weeks of sleepless nights. But this was supposed to be my sanctuary, a place where I could be alone with my thoughts, confront my past, and finish the research that had been plaguing me for months. The cabin stood alone, a derelict figure among the towering pines. Its wooden frame was weathered and old, the roof slanting as if burdened by the weight of years. The air was damp, carrying the scent of moss and decay. I took a deep breath and felt a shiver crawl down my spine, but I pushed the sensation aside. I had chosen this place for its isolation, its quiet, and its ability to force me into a confrontation with myself. I pulled my bags from the car, taking care to balance my laptop case on my shoulder. Inside the cabin, dust motes floated in the dim light, disturbed by my arrival. I quickly set to work, unpacking my research notes, books, and equipment. The sound of the forest seemed to press in against the walls, a constant whisper just beyond my hearing. I set up a small work area by the window. From there, I could see the outline of the trees, their branches twisting like skeletal fingers. A thick fog was beginning to roll in, swallowing the landscape in a shroud of gray. I turned away from the window and focused on my work, trying to drown out the sense of unease that was creeping into my chest. But then, just as I settled into my chair, there was a knock at the door. It was sharp and unexpected, cutting through the silence like a blade. I froze, my heart racing in my chest. Who could possibly be out here? I approached the door cautiously, my hand hovering over the doorknob. For a moment, I hesitated, every nerve in my body screaming at me to stay away. But curiosity got the better of me, and I turned the knob, opening the door just a crack. Standing there was a man. He was tall, his clothes were worn, and his face was partially obscured by the shadows. He smiled, though it was more a tightening of his lips than a genuine expression. "Hi," he said, his voice low and gravelly. "I'm sorry to bother you. I got lost while hiking, and I saw the light from your cabin. Could I come in for a bit? Just to get my bearings?" I stared at him, my mind racing.